AEA staff support some of the best work happening in school buildings all over the state. We're going to take our listeners on the road into these buildings and talk to AEA and district staff about partnerships making a difference for kids. Grantwood AEA's mission is to ensure success for all learners, and our staff's focus on this mission extends beyond the traditional classroom and into gyms and the world of physical education. I hit the road to Lisbon High School to talk with Grantwood AEA's adapted PE consultant Ryan Hartwig to discuss how health and wellness can benefit our students beyond the gym. Ryan's focus is to help educators modify physical education to benefit all students, even a lifelong student like me. Ryan, what are we going to see today at Lisbon?
So we're going to see Phil Whitman, who's the PE teacher here. We're going to see his adapted PE class, which is a variety of ages, and we're going to see the kids work on their individual IEP goals. And then we're going to see his high school PE class where they're going to be doing longboarding today.
Just one of the exciting ways Ryan is adapting physical education at Lisbon is with something you may not have used in your PE class. Longboards. We're seeing two very different things. One is sort of IEP based, adaptive PE, and the other is in a more of a general education setting. What's the goal of the longboards in the general education setting?
That's a very good question. So the goal for the longboards, longboarding is a really great lifelong physical activity, and it engages students who might not be athletes. It has a high success rate in the sense that it's not that difficult, and so students see a lot more success with it, so they feel more empowered. Last time we did it here, the students loved it so much that they were asking for longboards for Christmas. Kids were bringing in their own skateboards. So the kids who weren't on the football team or basketball team, but they did skateboarding outside of class, all of a sudden they were so much more engaged in this PE class.
I needed to see this for myself. Before the morning class began, Ryan walked me through a quick longboarding lesson. I helmeted up and grabbed a board.
So as we are on the board with our favorite leg forward.
The things I do for education.
So it's a kick, kick, flies, kick, kick, flies. Yep, the first progression is just pulling, and when you're ready, you're gonna walk off.
Ryan's a good teacher. In a matter of minutes, I was already starting to get the hang of things and could definitely see how this could be a physical activity kids keep up well beyond graduation. But I was curious about the instruction. How was Ryan supporting gym teachers like Phil by bringing this activity to the classroom?
So when we did this last year, I came in and I taught the class for him. He didn't know how to longboard, so he was learning next to the students. And by doing that, it was so much more motivating for the kids because they would see him fall or they would see him mess up. And so when they would mess up, they didn't feel as embarrassed. And so it made them feel way more comfortable and confident as they continued to learn this skill.
It's always nice to hear about a teacher leading by example. I was eager to meet Phil and hear more about his philosophy on physical education and how he's making it accessible to all students. This has kind of morphed into an actual adaptive PE class, which we're going to see a little bit later today. What's that been like, being the first person to do that here at Lisbon, to actually have a class?
Well, I think it's great. Our kids are tremendous kids. You know, we adapt things to get them to where they get into a regular PE class, and we try to pull from what our regular PE class is doing and try to slow things down. But we also give them a little bit more opportunities with different things that help benefit them in their daily lives. So we're able to utilize those things and give our kids opportunities.
There's 3 PE teachers in the building and K-12, so we were talking about getting together and creating a backwards design curriculum. So starting with 12th grade and then trickling down to kindergarten. So what do the students need to know in kindergarten so they can learn it in first grade, and then so on and so forth. So it's building upon each other. So when they go to the different teacher in middle school, they're already prepared to do the next thing.
I love how simple modifications and a little planning can make sure every student has an opportunity to participate. I asked Phil what students' reactions have been to these new activities.
We have a student that would not even come into PE class, and now he's the first one in. He's sprinting into class. Their eyes light up. Smiles are on their faces. Like, they love coming. And it's always when I bring something else, when Ryan drops it off and I bring it out, something new, it's like, what new toy do we get to play with today? You know, it's like Christmas, and it's awesome. Like, it's great.
And the great thing is they love it, but they probably don't even see it as necessarily part of a class. They just are having fun, being with kids and having a great time.
That's absolutely, that's the truth there. They are having fun, and they don't realize it's a different class. They're just here. They're like, I think, selfishly, I think it's the best part of their day for them too.
You've talked about trying to make physical activity, which is sometimes a challenge or a negative experience for students who need adaptive PE, and change that into a positive experience. How does that happen with your collaboration?
So first, I think it's important to note that physical education has changed over the last few decades. It was originally created to build soldiers, then it was used to build athletes, and it was very heavily sport-based. But if we look at the data today, less than 25% of adults over the age of 25 participate in sports as their main form of physical activity. So we look at what they're doing. They're playing pickleball, they're weightlifting, they're doing disc golf, golfing, swimming, paddleboarding.
Right, lifelong learning. I mean, every person's different. Every student's different. And as they get older, every adult's different. And what one person might like now might be different when they get older. And for us to be able to give our kids different opportunities to experience longboards, which you're going to see later today, and quite honestly, even just walking, weightlifting, for what we do in here at Lisbon, it gives us the opportunity to hopefully develop those experiences. So when they get old, when our students get older, whether it be 5, 10, 20 years from now, they can look back and say, okay, this is what I did in high school and even middle school, elementary school, that I can take for the rest of my life and continue to do things to make myself physically active.
Basically setting them up for a lifetime of activity.
Absolutely.
Right?
Lifetime wellness.
Yeah. Seems like a no-brainer.
The longboards, for example, longboards aren't cheap things. So us as an AEA being able to provide our districts with this resource, teachers can test it out. They can be like, wow, this is amazing. And then they can go buy their own, right? So having that set up with the AEA is really beneficial to our PE teachers.
When Ryan's able to loan us the equipment for us to be able to utilize that stuff, it's awesome, because we don't have, whether it be the funds or whatnot, but we don't have it in our closet. And like she said, we get the opportunity, and I get to say, okay, what is the most important thing for our kids, and what's the next step that I want to take to go out and purchase things to put in our closet so we can utilize it more often. But we wouldn't have that experience without the AEA. So.
I was thrilled to hear the agency's resources were appreciated by teachers and students alike, and agreed that Ryan's guidance is helpful in finding ways to make it accessible to all students. Ryan and Phil invited me to his 2 morning PE classes so I could see how Grantwood AEA materials were being used. First, in an adapted PE class, and secondly, in a general education gym class. I could absolutely see how much every one of the students benefited from these classes. Once they completed, I spoke with Ryan to reflect on what we saw.
So the first toy we saw was Blaze Pods, and they're these little light up circular things, and you can put them on the wall, you can put them on the ground, you can tie them to a kickboxing bag and do kickboxing with them, and you can do 1,000 different games with these Blaze Pods.
These Blaze Pods were utilized in the adapted PE classroom. It was clear the students liked being challenged, and they could be set at specific speeds to best suit each student's pace.
What Phil is going to be doing is he's working on purposeful reach with these students and visual tracking, color identification. We're going to be crossing the midline too, and what that helps with, it helps with cross-hemispherical communication in the brain. So that will help us with academics as well. So the student has a weaker side of his body, so he's going to be working on reaching with that opposite hand to build that strength back up.
These activities aren't just introducing students to fun ways to keep students moving. These moments come with additional benefits in both behavior and academics. So we saw something that would be a little bit like bean toss or placing big bags on a plate that broke down food groups. How did that come about?
So we utilized the creative services at Grantwood AEA to create us a banner that we could circulate with our food bean bags kit in our adapted PE equipment. And so the food group banner that we have from Creative Services is going to help students visualize the different food groups, and it allows the students to match them and get a good understanding that oh, to have a well-balanced diet, I need each food group on my plate, right? And so we saw the student go through the bean bags and identify them with the different food groups on the plate. So he even mentioned how he hates broccoli, but he recognized that it's also a vegetable, right? So that was very cool learning to see as well.
It's always nice to hear how our agency is collaborating across departments for the goal of supporting our students. So we've seen our equipment used in a lot of different ways today. So what does adaptive PE mean to you?
My philosophy when it comes to adapted PE is my whole why I do what I do is very much so, if I don't, who will, kind of thing. I believe movement is so important. And I mentioned earlier how students with disabilities have higher rates of obesity, depression, diabetes, and movement can help improve all of that. Movement can also help improve academics, readiness to learn, giving them outlets and opportunities to move throughout their day, not just in PE, but maybe in a motor lab. Motor pathways throughout the school are all great opportunities to incorporate that, but also build a positive relationship with movement. So when they leave high school, when they are college, career, and life ready, they can pursue movement and physical activity on their own, and they have the empowerment to do it.
Well said. I had a whole lot of fun today and can see now that the fun is the whole point. I thanked Phil and Ryan for the great work they're doing and for teaching me how to ride a longboard. I'm John Spear, and this has been On the Road.